as he said, my name is Jess Mallek. I've been doing this for a few months now. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Maybe, maybe not. You guys are the judge of that, I guess. But it's not a competition, so please don't judge. That being said, slight trigger warning. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I do talk about mental health in a lot of my bits just because I think it's being honest and realistic. So there's a brief mention of suicide, so if you don't like it, there's a bathroom back there. But I think it benefits people to laugh about it. So.
An ironic place to hide away from suicide.
Now, that being said, I've had my EMT certification for about 2 years now, which is pretty fun sometimes not. If any of you are confused about what an EMT is, it's short for Emergency Medical Technician. If any of you are still confused, I sit in the back of the ambulance and take people to the hospital. And if you're still confused, after the show I can draw you a really nice picture of colors and I'll write wee woo above the ambulance. Best I can do for you. Now, as you can imagine, being an EMT is like, has its highs, has its lows. Mainly lows. Because you're with people on like the worst day of their life, you know, like they're going through some stuff. Excuse me, I'm just gonna move this. I'm vertically challenged, so I feel like that takes away from your visibility of me. So yeah, like I said, being an EMT, highs, lows. That being said, there's some calls that bother you, and there's calls that don't bother you. Mainly don't bother you, you're kind of like insensitized to things around you. And I feel like the lack of a trauma response in itself is a trauma response. But who knows? My therapist tells me that, but she doesn't have to know. Now, ironically, the things that do bother you are the things that you least expect to bother you, but I'll get to that in a minute. Now, before anyone's like, question, you seen a dead guy before? Yes. Dead. DED. Like, you know. But he was gone long before we got there. Nothing I could do. In my mind, like, everyone was like, it's your first time, with a dead guy. Not in that way. Not to be and, keep laughing. It's good for my that being said, they were like, if you need to debrief afterwards, that's fine. You got to talk about it. That's fine. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll talk about it. And afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm like not that like put off by this. Like this isn't that bad. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like I've cried over way less. Had like stress acne, temporary paralysis, binge eating, none of that. I was like disappointed, but maybe it was just like a really good manic week for me, and I was just like, nothing can top this. Now, like I said earlier, sometimes there are calls that bother you. For me, it's usually people who want to commit suicide, unfortunately. Having been in that position before, wanting to go through with that, you relate to them more and you feel bad for them. And it is sad that people want to do that. Luckily, I've never seen the aftermath, just like the pre-plan, which is like easier to like deal with, That being said, it's still, it blows my mind that people kill themselves. I think a lot of times what blows their mind is a bullet. Trigger meaning has a double meaning for that one. Thank you. One person. Now, obviously that is not the way to go. If you need help, you get help. You don't want to be spicy kind of sad for extended periods of time. Or, if you are, then you do what I do, and once a month you come up here and you tell jokes in front of 40 people and try to make people laugh. If it works out for me in the long run, comedy, I can actually make money talking about my problems instead of paying someone to hear them. Therapy is not financially practical for lower class. Now, that being said, sometimes, because you gotta laugh about situations, I've had patients who are like, funny. And you're probably thinking like, how is a patient funny? Let me tell you. So we get a call for a man with stomach pain, and I'm like, that's vague, cool. So we get there, guy's laying up in bed, and he's like, yeah, my stomach hurts. Oh, I forgot to mention too, like, I really can't feel my legs that well. And I'm like, what? Exactly, I'm like, where's the correlation between stomach pain, can't feel my legs? Like, unfortunately, Lynn left, he probably could have told me the connection between that, but I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose. Anywho, we moved the covers because we're like, we gotta see what's going on. He doesn't have any legs. He's a comedian too. And I'm like, you've been using this joke since you not have legs, and that is a fact. Like, he's just taking advantage of the situation. But it made me laugh because, you know, the fact that...
Because he just ran with it?
Yeah. Well, he tried to. Metaphorically. That being said, you know, it's kind of hard, you know, when life gives you an unfortunate deck of cards to deal with, you know, it could sweep your legs right out from underneath you. And you still joke about it, you know, and from that moment on, he didn't know it, but we called him Lieutenant Dan. Good joke, right? That one down. But yeah, and I mean, in my opinion, I think, you know, no matter what your case is, you should pursue comedy. I mean, personally, I don't think he should do stand-up. Sit down might be a better option. But who am I to judge? Now, before you guys keep, like, you know, laughing, I'm going to get off the stage now. I hope everyone has a good night.